Now, back to Sunrise on News Radio 880 KCMX.
Shout, shout, I'm talking to you, so come on. Shout!
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Sunrise Show. Craig Fernick in as your host, 17 minutes after the hour, and want to welcome on to the program Dr. Mark Christian, and he's the founder and the executive director of the Global Faith Institute out of Nebraska, globalfaithinstitute.org. And the amazing thing about Dr. Mark Christian and his travels is born in Egypt, groomed to be in the Muslim Brotherhood, and then broke away. He's an OBGYN doctor by trade, and has come to the United States, born-again Christian, and the need he has seen for the Muslims that are the first victims of bondage. And Dr. Mark, welcome, and Happy New Year, and what an amazing time right now.
Thank you very much for having me, and Happy New Year to you and all your audience today, and thanks for having me over.
It's amazing because we talked briefly about this, and I was so shocked. I shouldn't be shocked. I use those wrong words. But while President Obama was on vacation, explain what was going on with this Arab Emirates, and they're trying to keep the Council American Islam Relations on the terrorist list, along with the Muslim American Society on the terrorist list. And the FBI is saying, yes, that's a good idea, but yet President Obama wants to take him off the terrorist list.
Well, let me start by saying that the Muslim Brotherhood is an organization that started 80-something years ago, and they are functioning over here in the United States on multiple levels and infiltrating every aspect of the American government and the American society and American churches, not by the name of Muslim Brotherhood, by the name of different front groups of them. One of the biggest organizations that is a Muslim Brotherhood is Council of American Islamic Relationship. Other one is ISNA, Islamic Society of North America, and Muslim MAS as well. And what happened at the end of last year, United Arab Emirates, which is a Muslim country on the Gulf, and they announced CAIR and ISNA, those CAIR and MAS, both of those two organizations, put them on a list of terrorist organizations and terrorist funding groups. And that definitely disturbed the whole Muslim Brotherhood structure here and abroad. And since then, CAIR and ISNA has been trying their best to get their names out of the terrorist list that United Arab Emirates put together. And, you know, they always find help and hope with the President Obama, because he is a big supporter of, you know, Islamist and Muslim Brotherhood all the way for multiple years now, and he supports their work, and he puts a statement for each anniversary that they have over here in the United States, and praise their work and invite them to the White House and so forth. So President Obama was spending the Christmas vacation hosting a couple of people from leaders from CAIR and MAS into the White House, and also on his vacation, to work with them closely to take the name of those two organizations off the terrorist list. You have to know, and your audience has to know, that, you know, the list that they made is very tightly put together, and also they have evidence. They do not throw those kind of accusations, loosely. They put it together for a reason, and they present all the documentation to the public. And the United Arab Emirates officials came on news on CNN and also on Fox News, and they laid down why they put this list and why they included CAIR and why they included MAS. But the President of the United States is helping them to, I don't know what he's trying to do, but he's trying to get their names off that terrorist list.
It makes no sense to me. I mean, it was just like Secretary of State Hillary Clinton in this Boko Haram, where the FBI vehemently said, put these people on the terrorist list, and she would not do it when she was Secretary of State. And then years later, fast forward, and Boko Haram, and they kidnap 300 girls. They've had more kidnappings since. and they wouldn't be put on the terrorist list. Why the disconnect on this terrorist list? Does that give the FBI better ability to nab these guys, or what?
There is no disconnect, Greg. Everything is being planned for, and there is people over here in the United States who are sympathizing and supportive of Islamists, thinking that they are working with the good guys against the bad guys, and so forth. And actually, I have an article that's going to be published today in the World Network Daily, talking about Hillary Clinton specifically and her involvement with the Islamists from the very beginning, back in the 80s, even before all of that started, even before 9/11, when people didn't know much about the Muslim Brotherhood and terrorism and Islam and so forth. As a matter of fact, 2 days ago, this is why they put in the article, 2 days ago, one of the leaders of the Muslim Brotherhood who moved to the United States had a good relationship with Hillary Clinton, and he said in a statement back in the 80s that he gives all the praise of Islamic movement to Hillary Clinton, the first lady that supports and speaks to the Muslim groups and invite them to the White House. So Hillary Clinton's relationship with the Islamists has been going on for many years, even before Obama was even on the stage. So there is no disconnect. There is a deliberate actions going on from the Democrat Party and from Hillary Clinton to support the Islamists and support the Muslim Brotherhood, for multiple reasons.
You know, it's interesting because you even watched, I don't want to muddy the waters, and we'll have a break coming up, but when we come back, I want to talk about what people can do and what they should be watching for, just because it's insidious. And then you look at this Bo Bergdahl investigation. Interesting how the Obama administration aligned themselves with the parents, and then they welcomed him back when yet he was a walk-off deserter from the U.S. Army. You wonder, is this, I mean, are they really thinking and planning and this is allowed, or is this a bigger plot on the game of chess, on the chessboard of what's really going on? It just boggles the mind.
I think the future of the United States on the ballot over here, and it's a very dangerous situation that we live in, and I think people need to start to get educated more than ever about their country and about what's going on. I know there is many people don't want to get involved in political arena or talk about politics or talk about religion for that matter, but the situation that the United States in right now and how it is moving and what's moving towards is very disturbing, and we might lose everything that the United States stand on for if we did not take an action and we start getting educated about what's going on.
Exactly. We've got Dr. Mark Christian with the Global Faith Institute on the program. His website, globalfaithinstitute.org. Do yourself a great favor by checking that out. And author and guest speaker and everything else, Dr. Mark Christian will be back after this break on the Sunrise Show, News Radio 880 KCMX. The Bloomberg Market Update is next.
So get up. Top of the morning to ya.
Now, back to Sunrise on News Radio 880 KCMX.
Good morning, everybody. 33 minutes after the hour. It's the new year. Beautiful out. Back on it in 2015. Welcoming back onto the program Dr. Mark Christian with Global Faith Institute. His website, globalfaithinstitute.org. And it's fascinating and chock full. Of course, he's got books on there and his speaking engagements coming up. And Dr. Mark, you've got presentations coming up the 7th of this month. So you're always busy doing things, and so appreciative of your time on the program. With this issue with President Obama not supporting the FBI and the Arab Emirates, and the fact that CARE, the Council on American Islam Relations, and the MAS, the Muslim American Society, and we talked about the Muslim Student Association, the MSA as well. the
and, you know,
why are Americans, why is the federal government in alignment with these groups? Because they are funded and tied in with ISIS and what was the other group? Boko Haram, and of course Hamas. That's the biggest thing, because Israel, we can't lose the focus on Israel and being their ally with what's going on over there. And this is all so muddy. Why can't we clear this up? We as Americans, we as the federal government. What seems to be the problem?
You're talking about the support to Israel. I think that's changing a lot in the country right now. I think, you know, our support to Israel is not as it was before, and this is one of the most dangerous things, that this kind of administration is taking that route. You know, support to Israel is very important because they are our ally, and they are a great nation who are practicing democracy and has lots of enemies waiting for its destruction and calling for its destruction. You know, you're talking about President Obama, and President Obama is spending so much time helping Islamists and helping Muslims and helping Islamist groups, inviting them to the White House, helping them to get off the terrorist list, and removing any mention of Islam in any kind of terrorist attacks or terrorism whatsoever. He just wants to say this has nothing to do with Islam, as he always says, which is completely wrong and mistake, and it's not true. And if you spend 1 second on any website or any literature written by Islam, he will find out clearly that what he says is wrong, and he knows that.
Yeah.
You know, he's a guy who spent his youth growing up by Muslim parents, and he spent his youth growing up in a Muslim school in a Muslim nation. So he knows very well about Islam, Islamic history, and other things. You know, in Muslim nations, Islam is not a simple thing. Islam is the core of their lives. And it's not like, you know, your kids have the choice to understand Christianity or not over the United States. Kids has to understand and has to memorize Quran, you know, at an early age. It's an obligation, not a choice. So when we are dealing with this situation over here with ISIS and Islamists in this country, we find President Obama and also Hillary Clinton in big support of Islamists in every way possible. And I look at ISIS situation as an absolute failure of the United States current government, because I don't know how can the United States government justify that they let a group like ISIS commit the atrocities that they are doing on a regular basis, and they are not able to do anything about it. The United States, by its mighty power and mighty military, are not able to get rid of Baghdadi and his group. This is completely crazy and unacceptable in every way.
Exactly, and we're laughed at. We're being laughed at. Americans are being laughed at by the rest of the world. I mean, look what this says. This comes out of Liberty News Online, but it says the FBI severed contacts with CARE in 2009 as, quote, not an appropriate liaison partner for the Bureau because of evidence linking the group and its founders to Hamas, which the U.S. lists as a terrorist organization. Hamas runs Gaza and was founded as an offshoot of the jihadist organization, the Muslim Brotherhood, based in Egypt. I mean, it is chock full of evidence, but yet, Representative...
Greg, you know, here's something you have to understand, okay? The founder of CARE, the organization you just talked about, Nihad Awad, was introduced to the White House by Hillary Clinton in the late 90s. And she is the one who helped him in his organization. She's the one who helped him get introduced to Al Gore and assign him the aviation security in Al Gore's campaign to presidency. So you are talking about an organization that its founder is very close to the current administration and all the players from the Clintons and from the Obamas. So this is why, you know, I think the current administration is handicapping every, law enforcement organization in the country, whether it's the police or the CIA or the FBI, and they are doing whatever they want to do, and they just handicapping America by the way they are doing it.
It is shocking, and I look at these pieces, and it's like, you know what, you connect the dots, it's so not right. I mean, it's a travesty and they're just spitting in our eye. I mean, it's what they're doing.
You know what is not right is American people not educated about this thing. You know, those stuff or that this kind of facts are not conspiracy, and no, it's right there by a click on the computer. They can find so many things that they need to be educated on. And I think the problems that the United States in right now is because we have an uneducated, citizens, not because of anything other than that. Because if people know, they are not going to let this happen. They are not going to make the wrong votes. They are not going to make the wrong decisions. They will raise good questions and many other things. So basically, people need to get educated. People need to know what's going on in their country, because if everything they hold dear in this country is important to them, and the future of their kids and their grandkids is important to them, then they need to do whatever it takes to keep this country safe and keep it the way it was started by our amazing and great founding fathers.
Well, you're absolutely right. And you know what's interesting, Mark? I wanted to ask you about this thing from the State Department offering a reward for Al-Qaeda leader. Do you have time? Can you hold over?
Sure.
Okay. All right. I want to do that because this whole issue on Gitmo, this ties into everything that they're doing. So we've got a quick break, and then we'll come back. Dr. Mark Christian will continue on the program talking about the State Department offering $5 million reward for this leader, and he was released from Gitmo. What is the problem with that? We'll be back on the Sunrise Show after this break.
Now, back to Sunrise on News Radio 880 KCMX.
This is a better time of the early morning.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. 45 minutes after the 45 minutes after the hour. Continuing with Dr. Mark Christian with the Global Faith Institute, holding him over because I wanted to get to this. This happened over the holiday, and I just couldn't believe what I was reading. United States offers $5 million reward for Al-Qaeda leader released from Gitmo, and I'm thinking to myself, what a joke. The rest of the world must be laughing at us. We hold these CIA operatives, these black ops, they go in, they disrupt we get behind the war in Iraq, the war in Afghanistan. We pull out these horrific, horrible people that are killing and in charge of these groups. We pull them back to Gitmo, we hold them, and then we just release them nonchalantly. And then the State Department, at a period of time later, offers millions of dollars of reward for the capture. What's the process there, Mark?
There's no profit whatsoever. It's I don't think the world is laughing at us. I think there's many countries realized where the current administration of the United States stands at this point, and some of them are waiting of how this is going to be unfolding or how it's going to end up to be. But there's lots of people not laughing anymore. They understand exactly where the current administration stands for. The other thing is releasing those guys are, what do you expect from them? They are terrorists. They have been spending years in jail with other terrorists, and do you think they're going to leave jail and go and work at a pizza shop or flip burgers at Burger King? No, they're going to go back and fight us and fight for Islam, and they're going to be terrorists again, the way that they grow up and the way they live all their life. And then it is just crazy when you send them out and then you put a reward to get them back. What does that mean? How does that look like? And it's not only the recent ones. We have 5 terrorists has been sent out before, and they're fighting with ISIS right now. And we send Baghdadi, the leader of ISIS, the Khalifa of Muslims, all that statements that he made for himself. He was before in jail and has been captured by Americans, spent in jail in America, in American jail, military jail, and then they released him. And he went off and he made built ISIS together, put ISIS together, and became the biggest terrorist and the highly funded terrorist organization in the world right now. So what does that tell you? That tells you this is a crazy thing to do, to release those guys in the streets again, because they're going to fight back. They are talking about how much it is costing Americans to hold them. I think the amount of money that America spends on fighting them again and capturing them again, and the life that dies because of their release, is way more valuable than the amount of money that will be used to keep them in jail or to put them for a military trial.
You wonder, as the chessboard continues, what are they trying to do? Are they trying to egg them on? Because, like you said, the leader of ISIS was held in a Gitmo, and they've released 23 detainees this year, and they have 132 left, and they're expected to be transferred in the coming months. It's like, okay, this is going to cost American lives. What is the Americans' plan right now? What is the Obama administration trying to do?
President Obama ran on the narrative that he would shut down Gitmo for good. This is what was his promise in 2008. He's trying to do the same thing that he promised people to do. Sometimes he keeps his word, and this is one of the things that he's keeping his word on. Not like you can keep your plan for health insurance, but this one is he's keeping his word. He wants to shut down Gitmo and release everybody over there because he doesn't think that they have been held, in a way that's supposed to be done, and he thinks that jail has to be shut down. And he's using the narrative that it's very expensive to keep it open. It is not human rights and American values to keep it open, and it's very expensive to trial them in the court. All of that is not right. All of that is wrong. All of his narrative and his promise is wrong altogether. Those guys have been captured for a reason. Those guys have spent time in jail for a reason, and they are terrorists in every way, and they will continue being terrorists. Keeping them in jail is very important. Put them on a trial in a military court, not in a civil court, is very important, and let them spend their rest of their lives in jail.
And the next thing is they've learned the way of the Americans. They've learned, in fact, it is coming out now that all of these Muslim leaders, they've learned, in fact, the American military, they're saying they learned our way of military.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes,
so now
they did. They learned the interrogation. They actually, do you know that Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the mastermind of 9/11, is spending his time lecturing other CIA operatives and FBI operatives about Islam? Do you know that he's spending his time giving them sessions about Islam and trying to convert people and tell them how to work things? He's building a vacuum machine in jail. There is a systemic bashing of the law enforcement in this country by this current administration. Whether it's the police, whether it's the CIA, which is the FBI, talking about interrogation, talking about things. And those guys, from Khalid Sheikh Mohammed all the way down to the least one of them, all of them are terrorists, are spending a great time learning about American ways, American way of interrogation, and all of that is going to be used by the new generation of terrorists that they will attack America more and more over time.
It's shocking to me from the standpoint of, okay, what is the operative? Because the federal government, they are missing out on the best asset they've got, and that is the American people. And if they are pushing the American people away as an asset, it just seems empty-handed to me.
Do you know that Khalid Sheikh Mohammed is really having access to the internet so he can work on a project to invent a new vacuum machine that he has an idea about? They are giving the mastermind of 9/11 an access to the internet because he was a trained engineer, because he has this idea that they want him to keep him occupied. So he said, okay, we'll give you access to the internet. We'll give you all the things that you need. So can you build an innovation of a vacuum machine? I'm not kidding you.
Yeah,
this is what they are doing. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine if you have somebody who died in 9/11 in one of those towers or in the Pentagon, and the mastermind of those attacks is spending time in jail, having the best time of his life, working on innovations to build a vacuum machine and lecturing CIA and FBI? Can you imagine that?
It boggles the mind to think that is actually what they do, and they expect Americans to just deal with it. It's unbelievable to me.
And you are paying for it. You are paying for it, Greg.
Oh.
Who is paying for this? Who is paying for his time in jail? We are paying for it. The guy who is responsible of killing more than 3,000 people, American innocent people that day, and spending billions of dollars of American taxpayers in wars since 9/11, this guy who is the mastermind of this, spending time in jail at our expense, having the best time of his life.
Unbelievable. Well, we're just about out of time. Mark, it's fascinating to talk with you, and so appreciate your time. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Mark Christian, he's the founder, executive director from Global Faith Institute, and you can get to his website, globalfaithinstitute.org. and check out all of his speaking engagements, along with his books that he's put out, a whole line of books, just fascinating stuff. And Mark, it's always great to have you on the program. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, have a great week. Have a great week. We'll talk to you real soon.
Thank you.
All right.